Why are our youth struggling, turning to violence and drugs and gangs and alcohol, all of those toxic things? Can you imagine the youth of today trying to be the best versions of themselves, to have goals, when they don't even know where they're heading to in life? If you're a parent that has a youth that is struggling, you are the main person that can help them through that. Welcome to Krystal Rowe Impacts, a space dedicated to empowering you to be the change that your bloodline has been waiting for. Join me and together, let's inspire change. Today, I want to share with you a story, something that I experienced recently around some youth. And it was just so heartbreaking to see. And it really made me think about what is going on with the world today. Black Eyed Peas says, "Where is the love?" And I mean, there's so many questions in that song that are relatable to what I'm about to share. So a couple of, maybe 5 weeks ago, I took the kids to the Lagoon, and it's just a local place where it's a man-made beach, and it was about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and the kids were having a swim, and the lifeguard yells out to these other kids, "Get off the tower, the lifeguard tower." And they just sat there, and I looked up and I gazed up, and I saw these two boys. They were about 10, 11 years old, and they didn't get off. So the lifeguard proceeded to walk over, and he was like, "Get down from there, get down, it's unsafe." And they just sat there. And he got about 3 meters away from him, and they started to climb down. And as he was approaching, the lifeguard was approaching him, this little boy took a can to his face and he started huffing this aerosol can. And my eyes aren't that great. And the sun was going down, and I kind of looked and I thought, no way, there's no way. We're in a public place. There's about 60 other people around. And I look and he's doing it again. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I think he is huffing, chroming. And for those that don't know, it's where they are inhaling aerosol can. Could be anything from a Rexona can to paint. And like I said, they're about 10, 11 years old. And when the lifeguard got them down and told them not to climb the ladder, he came past me and I said, "Hey, what was that kid doing? Is he?" And he goes, "Yeah, he is." And I thought to myself, how are you just letting him there? Or why is he here? How did he know to do this? And as I had a little conversation with the lifeguard, he carried on and he talked to the next lot of parents. And then that dad actually came across to me and said, "Do you think that he's huffing?" I said, "Well, look, have a look for yourself." And so he decided to go over and talk to him. And as much as I would have loved to have gone and spoken to him, I had my 6 children, and my main priority is always their safety. And it's just so sad because I thought, how can these little boys, 10, 11 years old, be engaging in such an act? What has gone wrong with the world that these kids are turning to these substances? How do we protect our children from being exposed to these sort of elements? How do we protect our children from the world today that is so harsh and violent? There's been a few acts in Bondi and Melbourne where people are hurting other people in public areas in broad daylight. I don't know about you, but that makes me scared. I'm fearful. I am worried. It's just a really crazy world. The youth today are turning to gangs. They are turning to violence. They're turning to drugs and alcohol a lot more younger. Every year, every generation is just getting younger and younger and more violent. And it's really, really scary. It's hard to raise your children to be great people, to go after their dreams, and to become the best versions of themselves when their peers and the children that they are going to school with are making extremely bad choices. And it leads me to the question, why? Why are our youth struggling? Why are they turning to violence and drugs and gangs and alcohol and all of those toxic things? And it made me think, why are our teenagers struggling so much more? And I realized when I was a teenager, I struggled too. I made bad choices. I remember stealing alcohol from my parents and walking to school drinking it. And I thought to myself, why did I do those things? And it's the pressure. It's the pressure to fit in and to be wanted. And it's the pressure to do your homework, to go home and do what you need to do. Back then, we didn't have social media, and I didn't have a social life because my dad was very strict. But there was so much high expectations, and I just did not value myself. And that has trickled down into the youth today. They're still not valuing themselves, and they still have to struggle with schoolwork and chores and home life. And I just wonder what is going to happen in the years to come if we don't start making a change. So I know our youth are struggling, and I feel like the way that they can get the support and love that they need to not make the choices of violence and gangs is to teach them in the home. Nobody taught me how to balance and to regulate myself, to understand my emotions and to heal and to have goals and visions, except me as an adult. But imagine being able to teach our youth and encourage them to go after their dreams, to help them to balance and regulate their own emotions. How more important would it be to have those skills be taught in school over algebra or geography? And I mean, it's so hard in life to keep on track as an adult. Can you imagine the youth of today trying to be the best versions of themselves, to have goals when they don't even know where they're heading to in life? They don't even know which direction that they're going in. It's challenging. It's really, really challenging. And I really believe that if you're a parent that has a youth that is struggling or has behavioral issues, you are the main person that can help them through that. And I know that sometimes it's really hard. I know that it was hard for me to be able to get to a point where I was healed enough to be able to pour more into my children. And I want to encourage you to take a step and to maybe begin a journey for yourself to lead by example of self-regulation. If your kid, if your child, your youth is having a meltdown and going crazy, behaving bad, and then you come and then you show them the same behavior, you yell at them and you're entering into an argument or a fight or a battle, what is that teaching them? How is that teaching them to regulate? I'm not saying that every time that this is going to work, but if you can come in and try and help them to calm down first and to enter a conversation, we're going to slowly be able to help our youth to regulate, to balance, and to understand their emotions so that they can actually grow up more sound, to have a better mindset. It is really hard to balance your own emotions when you're dealing with your children and they are just out of control. I get that. But I do want to encourage you, if you are struggling with raising children, with youth, that maybe you need to take a look internally. Maybe there's some things that you need to work on that you may need to heal or unblock. And with the one-on-one coaching that I do in the quantum course, you can actually unblock a lot of traumas, trapped traumas, release a lot of things so that you have more capacity to be able to pour into your children or to help them, teach them, co-regulate themselves. It's not an easy task facing the world. as an adult, let alone as a young child or a youth. So if we can actually try to collectively come together and realize that we do have a problem with our youth, that we do have a problem with violence and gangs in this world, that we can make a small difference in our child's life, that we can make a small difference in our community. And to all the parents that are doing an amazing job already with their children, because I know that there are some amazing youth out there, some encouraging youth, some inspirational youth that have been amazing to their peers. I just want to encourage you, if you have a great method, to share that with people in your community around you, because together we can make a difference. And I'll see you on the next episode.